Welcome to Geek Blast.
Geek Blast, you better make way. Open up your ears and let the word spray. Hey, hey, did you hear the noise? Something just exploded. There's a mushroom, have you noticed? Geek Blast, clear out the pad. Gizmo's throwing caca and Chewbacca is a rat. Hey, what? Better call your dad. Something has been growing underneath the doormat. Geek Blast.
Welcome back, geeks, nerds, and dweebs alike. I'm Mike, and this is Geek Blast. Tonight I have Dan from Corrosive Radio joining us. And present and accounted for. And then also we have Dennis joining us. Dennis, how you doing this evening?
All right, boys.
All right. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about the New York City Comic-Con, people. If you were there, we probably saw you, but didn't notice. If you weren't there, well, you got to get there next year. So you guys had a great time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, at least Dennis did.
Oh, yeah.
2 days.
It wasn't bad for me either.
No, you're not like Brendan. Brendan's like, I really hate that stuff. That's not my thing.
I mean, you know what it is? I'm not hugely into comics, but I can still enjoy the festivities.
Yeah.
People walking around in costumes, the cosplay. I mean, it's an event. It's a spectacle.
It is. I don't think the one person that said it the best was the real life Peter Griffin in his video. The New York City Comic-Con is like what did he say? The geek festival of Disneyland or whatever for him at least. But it's kind of the same thing for all people that do cosplay, people that just want to go there to see the new upcoming things that are coming out, like television, movies, comics, toys, collectibles, just everything.
So, Mike, have you ever been to the one in San Diego or no?
I have not, and
I have. Long time ago, though, before it became the media press that it is now.
Oh, that was only when it was like 4 fat guys and like comic books?
No, that was the New York one when you used to hold it at the Hotel Pennsylvania. I went back in '92. Yeah, when a guy named, I think his name was Fred Greenberg, used to do the cons in the city.
Wow.
Around the area.
92. I was still in high school.
Barely.
I'm sorry, I was in grammar school.
Yeah.
I told you, Dennis, you could be my father.
Dennis is old.
Yeah. Mike doesn't know it, but I am his father.
Well, we can rule the galaxy together. Well, just to get started on a couple of things that I thought were really cool and didn't get a chance to get to were some of the after parties that happened after Comic-Con.
That's usually when after parties are.
Yeah. Thanks for the
That's Mike, always leaving the party early.
Yep. One of the things was a Blade rave. Now, have you guys heard of this? The Blade rave?
I think I saw a bumper for it. Like, I think I saw a handout.
Yeah.
Like Blade, the movie Blade, where they're all partying under like sprinkler system and then they all get eaten by vampires?
You
Precisely.
got it. There was this girl handing out little cards that said Blade Rave on them. The admission was $56, but with this card you get him for $28, which I'm sure everybody got him for $28. But basically, it's just like the scene in Blade. And I said to her, is this just like in Blade? Like when they're all in the club and they're all in the rave and then they all... She's like, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. She's like, we're reenacting that scene in the movie. And I'm like, so everybody's going to die? And she's like, well, if you're lucky. And I'm like, okay, wonderful. She's like, hope to see you there. And like, she's all dressed up, and I'm like, you're a freak.
Was she hot?
She was hot, They're all hot. Most of them.
She was like a goth vampire type chick?
She did. And she had those like weird like contacts in that changed her eyes, but they were like white.
No, that was her vagina you were looking at.
Ooh, I don't know.
Sounds like a girl you bring home to your mother.
What'd you say about my mama?
Nothing that's already been said about her.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I didn't get to make it on, which one of the main focuses for us this year was cosplay, and we made a lot of cool cosplay contacts, and we talked to a lot of different cosplayers and some seasoned vets We saw the cosplay championship that happened, the Eastern Championship, which I was, it was my first cosplay championship to watch, and I was pleasantly surprised. As were you, Dan, right? I mean, you had
I
a pretty
was,
good time, right?
and then when I got home, my girlfriend had gone to the 2011 BlizzCon out in California.
Okay.
I already like your girlfriend.
What's that?
I already like your girlfriend.
Well, that makes one of us. Yeah, so basically, she proceeded to show me, because I showed her some of the pictures from this year's, Eastern, what was it, like the Eastern Conference Championships here at New York Comic Con. Well, she proceeded to show me some pictures. I don't know, obviously you're in front of your computer. You might want to just Google 2011 Comic Con. I mean 2011 BlizzCon.
Right.
And I got to say, she's right. Like, the costumes and the cosplay were of a much higher pedigree. It was pretty, I have to say, it was even more impressive. Now, it doesn't diminish what was done at New York Comic Con, but if you look at some of the champions from the BlizzCon one, it was like ridiculous. I don't know if they were actually just people that swiped things from a Hollywood set, but it was like, some of it was fantastic.
Actually, you're right. They do swipe it from Hollywood sets. There's a lot more prop companies and costume companies just being in LA because it's Hollywood than there is out here. People out here, they make their own stuff without a lot of tutelage. There's not save for going online, there's not places around here you could really walk into and say, yeah, I need to make the armor for the Marines out of StarCraft, and I want to be this character. And they're like, okay, well, we have Warbler, we have this kind of plastic, we have this, and we'll even show you how to do it. It's different out in L.A.
That's one of the things that Mike and I were discussing because, I'm a neophyte when it comes to cosplay. I'm not familiar with it at all, but it seems to me that there's sort of like a point where one can't go past because if it gets too good, it stops being homemade. Like there's almost like they need to have like a retro category or some sort of like amateur category, because I've noticed even with all around the con, Mike and I were going around. I mean, half of the fucking vendors, right, were all were cosplay distributors of various materials or costumes or people advising you on costumes and things like that. So
you mean the sponsors? You mean the sponsors that were
the sponsors for sure. But also, I mean, like we networked with quite a few cosplay companies, people that provide hair accessories, people that provide raw materials, people that provide certain ready-to-go costumes. So is there going to be a point where people are just going to say, hey, wait, that's not homemade enough?
I would hope so.
It's funny. Well, yes and no. I mean, depending on what kind of cosplay contest you enter, they'll have what they call like a pre-interview, and they'll ask you what part of your costume did you make, what part was bought, how did you make certain things, depending on the level of cosplay. If you ever watch that TV show Here's a Cosplay, they did some of those contests where they did pre-interviews, and they said, based on the particular judge, they may score you higher for, there's original idea, original costume, originality, how much of it was created by you, how much was store-bought. So it really varies on the type of contest that it is.
And is there also some sort of benefit to choosing a character that's like got a cult following, but one that specifically is lesser known? Like this year, one of the fan favorites was Barf from Spaceballs. Now, I mean, plenty of people know who that is, but he was pretty much like the only Barf throughout the entire Comic-Con.
There was a Barf last year as well.
Right, but I mean, like, you look at, like,
the Barf this year looked a lot better than the guy that did it last year. I'm serious.
Yeah.
The guy this year looked like dead on.
He looked like John Candy. Because he had the look, he had the size, he had
the walk,
the walk down, and those dog bones, man. He was. But
so
them like
I guess what I'm saying is that, like, you could do that before. I think you'd have more success with someone like that than you would yet another Batman or what I mean, yet another Captain America.
I'm tired of Deadpool.
Yeah, right.
And every incarnation of Deadpool. And it's only going to get worse when the movie comes out. But what it comes down to is a little bit of originality. Sometimes you'll see something like that's a cool mixture of something, and then sometimes you'll just see stuff that's just old hat. for example, the Batman. We saw a ton of Batmans, but the one cool Batman was the guy who had the Dark Knight with the kryptonite gloves, toting around a dead body of Superman, but he looked like he had gotten through a fight because half the costume was destroyed. So that was probably the best looking Batman because it was Batman.
Did you get a picture of this guy? Because I didn't even see this one.
Oh my God, how'd you not see him? He was dragging his body all around the con. I do have a picture of it. I'll send it to you.
Good. We should post that on the page.
Yeah, but he made it. I looked at a couple of websites that had pictures for the con and the different cosplay, and I have to say I was disappointed. I didn't get a chance to go Friday and Saturday when it looks like some of the more elite cosplayers were out in just spectacular form. I went on Thursday and Sunday, so
yeah, Friday and Saturday night. I mean, there was tons of people there just cosplaying it up, and one of the people that that I'm in contact with, her name is Megan. She's got she dressed up as Jasmine, steampunk Jasmine, and she's made it into the papers and all this other stuff. We're trying to get her to call in this evening, but we'll probably talk to her at a later date. But she actually got sick afterwards. I guess they call it the con flu. But it was just like the costumes were just ridiculous, and some of the other ones that stand out in my mind. Obviously, the winner of the championship, which was
he had it from day one.
I know.
We got there about an hour after it opened.
The Hulkbuster,
and the Hulkbuster Iron Man, and this guy was just massive. I looked at him. I said, "This guy just won the con with this costume alone."
Yeah, and they did it. They did like a little documentary. I don't know if you've seen it. We posted it on our Facebook page, and he was on stilts, and they showed like the ins and outs of the whole costume, and it was just so awesome that like obviously he couldn't do it by himself. You know what I mean? There was people helping, obviously. But
it was a battle for second place. I mean, that was clear. That was immediately evident.
I felt really bad for there was 4 people on that stage and only 3 of them got something, and that one girl up there, man, she was mad. She was mad. You saw her face.
Yeah, why not just do a 4th place so that everyone gets something, and she doesn't just have to sit there, empty. Well, with her medal from her division win.
Yeah, and then it came out to like, all right, well, the Ganondorf was 3rd place. He was awesome. I think actually he should have been 2nd place, to be honest with you. And the 2nd place was the
Ariel
Asgardian.
Oh, right,
the Asgardian, and then it was left up to the Hulkbuster, and then I think she was an elf of some sort. I didn't get the actual character that she was because she didn't win, but. It was like, all right, come on. Really, you're going to put those 2? Who's going to win? It's Hulkbuster, of course. And everybody in the audience is yelling, Hulkbuster, Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
And so that was, that was a good time, though. I was pleasantly surprised. In my first cosplay contest, and being in the audience. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought I was going to be kind of bored, to be honest with you. But I wasn't. I was like, wow, these are really cool costumes. And like, wow, the audience is really like eating it up. And I was like, wow, and just in general. And then they were throwing stuff out in the audience, T-shirts, whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to do it, I know for me, I would go for something absurdly obscure.
Right.
I would just go for some like annoyingly obscure thing. Like, in Daredevil 4, Matt Murdock walks past a man on the street. I am
Gladiator.
a man on the street.
Well, Dennis and his family did something, and they regretted it in the end, didn't you?
Well, yes and no. A little bit.
Those are the best kind of things, by the way.
Yeah,
we did on Thursday. I went as Han Solo. My wife went as Endor Leia, and the kid was dressed as an Ewok. And we got stopped for photos time to time. And the con wasn't that crowded. No, are you kidding? That's not abusive. But on Sunday could have been constituted as child abuse because my wife made us Team Rocket from Pokemon. I was James, she was Jessie, and we dressed the kid as Meowth. a little hot little costume and with a hood on it, and the kid don't like hoods. So he was crabby all day about that.
Well,
But
how's your
we
kid?
he's 2 and a few months.
Wow.
So, but we got stopped like we were Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie trying to adopt a kid from Africa. Every 2 seconds, can we have a picture? Can we have a picture? And we said yes to everybody. And everybody, paid us great compliments, great parenting.
I saw it. It was awesome. I mean, I think you guys did a great job, and that could have been something I think you probably could have been in the contest with, because it was that good. Now, you being like, we met up for a moment.
Yeah,
and then
for a moment we were gonna hang out, and then next
I was like, I'm out of here, because you're just gonna stand there and take pictures the entire rest of the day. And I'm like, I'm out of here.
You're like, oh, he wanted to meet he goes, I'm gonna grab something to eat and I'll meet you at the Jurassic Park entrance. And I said to my wife, we were all the way across the comm floor. I said, we got to start now, because it took us an hour to get there. No lot.
Jesus.
Just, crossing 100 yards to an hour.
Wow.
And the size of the Javits Center is like no joke. I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover, number one. But especially with all those geeks, nerds, and dweebs just bumping into each other and just... One of my cousins went, and he was like, I'll never go again, because I can't stand people bumping into me that much,
Perhaps they're not the most coordinated lot.
Yeah, right?
We're not looking at like people that were, champion high school athletes or whatever. But meanwhile, so the first costumes you did they garner a lot of attention then at like the Leia and the Han Solo thing?
You know what? They did get a lot. The kid got more of the attention because he's a cute little kid dressed as an Ewok. While some people nobody really does Endor Leia, with the poncho and everything. Everybody does either the white Princess Leia, or they do Slave Leia. My wife wanted to take something different, so she did Endor Leia. I did Han, and like I said, the kid was an Ewok, but the kid got all the attention. And he was the cause of most of the pictures.
Right.
So when people saw the three of us, they were like, oh, that's a great, idea for a family. So when she said do Team Rocket, I have to be honest, I didn't know who Team Rocket was specifically. I'd only seen my wife watch Pokemon a couple of times with the kid, maybe caught a glance, because Pokemon was behind me by the time it came into its popularity.
Yeah,
so she said everybody does Ash and Pokemon, or Ash and Pikachu.
Pikachu. Yeah.
So she says, I want to do Team Rocket. I was like, okay. So she made the costumes, all three of them, and that's what we did. And it was,
she did a great
I have
job.
to say, it felt great.
Yeah, she did a great job. And it's pretty funny looking at you in that costume. I felt like you were like this big, like, rocker hippie dude, because you kept on moving the hair out of your face.
Yeah. Little did I know that thing just kept dumping in my face, and it was like, oh, that's not annoying.
He's also got his costume for next year, because you guys, I don't know if you remember, but you just mentioned a second ago, you should go as Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie adopting a child from Africa.
There you
How's
go.
that for cosplay?
That's a good one.
I'll put the kid in blackface. What the hell?
Definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, all in all, cosplay is just growing and growing and growing. And I think it's going to become more mainstream in the future, where, it started as this like little underground thing, you know what I mean? Where people were just kind of dressing up, go to conventions, this, that, and the other. And, with this championship that they had, it's now worldwide, and now they're going to be doing a global championship. And I just think that it's like on the rise at this point, and there's really no stopping it.
Do you think
Well, what started it was, believe it or not, was vendors would try and dress up like a long time ago, like Marvel and DC, in order to get people to come to their booth to pitch what they were selling. And the same thing with game vendors. They would have hot girls dressed up as the characters from their games or from their comics to garner attention. Mm-hmm. That's where it actually started. And then people's like, hey, this is cool. I want to dress up like a character too to get attention.
Right.
And then it snowballs from there, and it gets to be adult Halloween all through the year.
Yeah.
Now, there was a show on the Sci-Fi Network. It was on just one season, but it was called The Heroes of Cosplay. and it featured some of the more famous cosplayers going to different cons, showing how they come up with the ideas and how they make their costumes, which inspired my wife to do the same. So we actually got to meet some of them at this con, one of them being Yaya Han, who is now creating her own brand of costume fabrics that'll be more durable than just, say, your regular fabrics you'll find at, Target or Walmart. At I think it's at the what's the name of that store? The Joanne Fabrics. She's going to have her own fabrics showcased there. So to meet her was really nice, and we met some of the other girls that were on the show too, and they were all. I thought I had a misconception. I thought because they were hot girls, I thought they'd be snooty as hell, but they were sweet as can be. They were really nice.
Yeah, most of the chicks that you meet in cosplay are very nice. Either they're faking it because they just want people to like them.
That's my vote.
Or they're just sweet as can be. I mean, some of the girls that I've met and I've talked to, you kind of think like, oh, this chick's just going to give me the cold shoulder, but they don't. So it's a nice change from meeting people on the streets.
Well, I've tried dressing up as a hot girl, but it doesn't seem to get me much attention.
Well, I'm
That's
sure
you don't commit and shave the legs.
That's what I was just about to say. I'm sure you didn't shave your legs.
That's the thing. Yeah,
that's the ticket.
Yeah, I got to remember to do that. But you said earlier, do you think that this is something that, as it becomes more and more commonplace, do you think it actually just becomes someone's like regular day garb? Like, the way that, I mean, if you think about it, it doesn't, it's not so
It sounds
weird.
crazy, but
I mean, guys wear jerseys all the time, right?
Right.
They're walking around in Mets jerseys right now for the game tonight. Like, eventually, will it just become like, fuck, man, time to put on my fucking Spider-Man costume? And
Well, not costume, but they do have hoodies and, T-shirts. There are some very creative hoodies where you pull the hood down over and it's the mask of the character you like.
yeah.
But I don't know that it's really adults more than it is like kids and teenagers right now.
But I'm wondering if it'll ever just come to that where it'll just become so acceptable socially that people can just, almost like on a dress down day. I mean, obviously not for business, but that people just, you put on something to go walk around, and it just so happens that you're walking around like, some sort of comic book character or something.
I mean, I have a bunch of shirts myself like that. Like a Batman. I have a Batman shirt that has like the Batman chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we all have those.
I have that R2-D2 hoodie that he was talking about that zips up all the way, and it's R2-D2's head.
Right.
Like I have those, and those are cool. So I can see maybe in the future people going all out and just being like, all right, I'm going to be Han Solo today.
I mean, there's certainly more and more parties and festivities that encourage that sort of dressing behavior, right? I mean, you even just mentioned earlier the Blade thing.
Right.
I mean, that sounded like it had everything from the movie, except maybe like Wesley Snipes not speaking to everyone.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much how it went down on the set.
And then chopping people up.
Yeah, and then not paying taxes. But other than that, it was almost like exactly for the movie. And I had a roommate at one point who was he was really into vampire stuff.
Right.
That's why he's my ex-roommate, because I just can't deal with that shit. But he was way into vampire stuff. And apparently in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, they have like a vampires ball that's like the biggest in the country.
Really?
And, complete with like drinking blood red wine. And he would even get contact lenses that would make his eyes yellow. He had like really good fangs, things that were maybe like $300 or $400 fangs that would just sort of affix to his teeth. And I mean, he went all out. So I think as those kind of parties become more and more common, you're going to see better and better just everyday costumes for adults.
I'm sure. Some of these other parties that happened, the after parties. There was a cosplay cruise. This was on Friday, the 9th. And,
Cosplay booze cruise.
Yeah, basically, it was at the Circle Line Marina on Pier 83, and it says here that it was like $20 to get in, but I'm sure that with this card here, it was an extra discount or whatever. That's how they rope you in.
Right.
And this was actually one of the things I wanted to catch but wasn't able to. I think we ended up. The hell did we do? I don't even remember. It all just meshes together at one point in time. But that was one of the things. You know, that sounds cool. Like a little cosplay cruise. You get booze and stuff. Booze with hot chicks in costumes, and you know.
I think that was the night you and I ended up shooting heroin. Maybe that's
possible.
why it blends together.
Maybe. There was also the after con networking party. That one I wanted to hit up. Didn't do it. I don't know when the heck that was, though.
Network. Now it just sounds like the con is becoming more and more work.
That's what it is, though. It's all networking. Everything is
Yeah.
networking.
I got to do a presentation. That's year's Comic-Con. It's a whole, it's somebody's stress.
I want to start doing live broadcasts from the con and just talk to everybody and just go crazy.
There were people doing that, but I think that requires some sort of special license, right?
They were.
No, it requires talent and technology.
Technology,
Things
definitely.
we don't have.
Talent, I don't know if you need that so much, but technology is definitely a must. Then there was this after party that me and Dr. Essex went to. Oh, that's why we didn't go to that booze cruise, because we went to this place, the Irish Bar and Grill, the Tirnanog. I don't know. Tirnanog. And it was just kind of like a little after party. It was like discounted drinks. It was like $5 for a Yingling, which is awesome, especially in the city.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was good. And, me and Dr. Essex got totally wasted for cheap. And then the whole rest of the
So you chose
evening.
booze over talking to the cosplay cruise.
It was closer.
That's just sad.
You've chosen wisely, my son.
I know. Actually, we did not choose wisely because the whole night after that was just absurd and went down in infamy. It was just horrible. We ended up getting stuck in Newark Port Authority until 3 a.m. until I got a ride home.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
we
wow,
were
wow.
shit-faced. And then we walked into the bar there, and the woman wanted to charge me $4 for a water.
For water?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm out of here, and I just left. And I was sitting there talking to all the interesting people that are usually in the Port Authority at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. What you don't realize is you became one of those interesting people.
I did,
Right.
and I ended up sitting on my ass on the hard floor next to a guy in a wheelchair with one leg. So,
Tell my dad I said hello.
yeah, I will. I'll tell him next time I see him that you miss him very much.
Did either of you black out?
No, neither
Oh,
one of us
okay.
blacked out. But that was the good part, I guess.
Yeah. You were conscious enough to witness your own stupidity and drunkenness.
Yeah, exactly. So one of these things one of these booths that I came across at the con was 451. You guys know what that is?
Yeah, the temperature at which paper burns. Also a book by Ray Bradbury called Fahrenheit 451.
Okay.
But no, I could be mistaken.
It could
I'm
be
going to guess
all
it's
those.
3 numbers.
But 451 is a new company that put out by Michael Bay. And he had 5 different comics there, and he was giving them all the way for free. And he was having
Were they
the
anything like
artists
the
sign
Transformer movies? Because they probably sucked.
it. They were
You
exploding.
should be given away for free.
Well, anything that you
Give us
have a
movies
first
away.
issue of, you give away for free. But they're also doing the Warriors, which
Yes.
I can dig that.
Really?
I can.
A little B movie from 35 years
Oh, no,
ago?
but that's
You
a
don't
cult
like
classic.
the Warriors, bro?
Yeah, that's a cult
It was-
classic.
It was okay,
Just hang up.
but it wasn't like, oh my God, they're coming out with it again. No, don't. It's a cult classic. You don't redo it.
No, they're not
Like, you
redoing the
don't-
movie.
No, I don't know if
it's
you
a
followed,
comic.
but they redo everything now. Everything
Yeah,
gets
I know,
rebooted,
but-
reimagined,
Yeah, bro.
reinvented.
Doesn't make it right.
Yeah, I certainly don't think, and I actually kind of understand what Dennis is talking about. Like, if you actually watch the Warriors, like, I'm not like in love with the movie, but it's a movie that has such like history behind it.
Yeah.
That it's sort of relegated to that level of a cult classic, and
Even if
you
it
know-
sucks, I mean, it's still what it is. So
yeah,
You
no
can't
no
badmouth
question. But you realize Michael Bay is doing this. This is probably going to be something that a lot of other Hollywood people do, because if you think about it, it's a smart business move, right? I mean, now instead of having to pay for rights for other people's intellectual property, and specifically the heroes, you're just going to have, it's almost like his own farm team. He's going to try and see, you can see what comics hit, if any of the characters catch on, and then lo and behold, when somebody comes and says, oh, it's time for a movie, well, guess who's got the rights locked down? Yeah. He kind of calls the shots in that regard. Yeah. So, I mean, did any of them look good? That's my question.
Well, there's a couple of them here. Let's see. One of them's Six was the name of the book. Another one's Ex Mortis. Self-Storage, which is like a zombie thing.
More?
Yeah, more zombie. And the download on this one here is somebody had a storage unit. They died. It got sold in like a storage war kind of thing. And they open it up and there's zombies in there. So the whole story is trying to figure out how, why, and all that other good jive. Another book is Bad Moon Rising. I didn't read this one fully. I just kind of glanced at it a little bit. And
is it about werewolves? Please, no.
It is, actually. The cover of the book has a werewolf on a motorcycle. And
so it's Sons of Anarchy meets American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, basically, he's trying to cover every single topic that was a hit TV show in the last 10 years. Zombies, motorcycle guys. He's got werewolf stuff from movies. He's probably got a vampire line.
Ex Mortis looks like old Nazi Germany type, because the guy on the cover looks like Hitler.
Do you know what the irony of it is? Is that the idiot is at Comic-Con surrounded by 100 or 1,000 new, fresh ideas, and he's just hacking on the old stuff.
Sure.
The last book is called Sunflower. So I didn't even glance at this one yet, but
sounds gay.
Yeah,
it does sound. Hell hath no fury is what the back of the book says. So I don't know.
Oh, please.
I'll see what those are all about. But yeah. So that was just one of the booths. There's a lot of cool booths there. I mean, there was that the Avatar booth. You guys see that thing?
I did not see the Avatar booth.
Where you go in there and then you basically turn into one of the avatars. I don't remember the names of the creatures that in the movie, but
the Na'vi,
the whatever they were, yeah,
right.
So like they do this like rendition where you change, they change you into one of them, which is pretty cool, and you get your own picture and stuff like that. So that that was pretty cool.
Do you remember when that is funny, because it doesn't surprise me if that would catch on, because do you remember when the movie came out and it was such a huge deal that people actually started to have depression because it wasn't real? I remember
I don't remember that.
Yes, I remember like NPR, like a legitimate news source of some sort, doing like these commentaries on how people suddenly, there was like a spike in depression because people were so taken in by the immersive nature of the movie and this whole other world, that basically they just were like, no, there has to be a way for that to become real. And you could see how people at the con could sort of fall into that trap with like a variety of different things. I mean, they're certainly enthusiastic, to say the least. I mean, blindly so, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. There was also a bunch of different vendors there that had virtual reality. Did you see any of these?
I passed by them. I didn't.
There was the one over by the Chevy display.
Right.
And I actually stepped into it. I looked into it, and it was actually really cool. The animation left a lot to be desired, but having the goggles on you and looking up, down, left, right, down to your sack and stuff like that. I mean, it all was real.
He immediately looked at his sack.
I was like, hey, what does that look like in this virtual world?
Maybe in this reality, something's actually there.
But it was actually really amazing.
Was it like an Oculus Rift type thing? Like it had those goggles that sort of make it so that so you're turning your head and the scenery changes as you turn your head?
Like, say you're like the beginning part of it, you're walking next to a pool, and there's a kid throwing things in the pool. And you look to your right, and it's all like, landscape. And there's a building in the distance, and and it kind of progresses on its own. So like you're moving within this virtual world, and you look to your right, and there's all the landscape, and you look to your left, and the kid is like moving past you, but he's still throwing stones and stuff. And then eventually you hear, and I think that the whole I have it wrong what the whole thing is about because I know that it was like a scary type of comic that they were doing. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm probably gonna get an interview with these people because it was so cool, and I think that if I were able to get something like this in my home, I would definitely have it, just to have it and be like escape life. You know what I mean? And go into my own virtual world.
Wasn't that the premise of, what was it, Dreamscape, the last movie Natalie Wood did?
It's been the premise for a lot of movies.
Oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of them.
And albums even. Pete Townsend, Lifehouse. They've had I mean, if Lawnmower Man has taught us nothing, and it hasn't, it's that we should steer clear of virtual reality, dude. Because I remember that movie, and bad things happen. But no, listen, Mike. That's when that hits, that's going to change society as we know it.
Absolutely.
Because
and
you
gaming
can't
too.
What's that?
And gaming.
Oh, forget about it.
Yeah.
It will just become, when they can get that level of immersion in the game. It'll just make drugs look like nothing, because right now it's like I could either, and I don't even know what I would do. It's like I could go outside and work, or I could stay at home and fight dragons.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an easy choice,
Or stay home and play World of Warcraft,
Right, but actually not even play it. Be in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like mind-boggling how society's going to have to sort of change, because it's like, for so many people, it's going to be like a dream come true. And what happens when so many people get this other thing going on that they love, and then naturally just start to forget about life?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it breaks down. But I mean, that's definitely on the horizon. Although they've been saying it's been on the horizon since like in the mid-90s, right?
But it's reality now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's been on the horizon, and now it's just at its infancy, I feel.
And it worked. I mean, like, you should have just started like freaking out just for the fun of it. Just like,
well, the funny thing was that they record you and your reaction. So like, I got a video, and I probably posted it to the Facebook page or something. There's a video of me with the goggles on looking around. You know what I mean? And then to the side of it was what I was seeing.
Huh.
Yeah. So it was actually really cool. I'll post it so everybody can see it. But it was weird too at the same time. It was like, wow, this is really a virtual world. I felt like I could just like get up and run.
I think Dennis Miller one time on his old show had a line about one day when we get virtual reality and men are able to have sex with whomever they want.
Right.
I think he said something like, when any Joe Sixpack can come home and fuck Claudia Schiffer, that's the day that crack's gonna look like fucking Sanka.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's just gonna just change everything.
Some of the other cool stands at Comic-Con. Okay, obviously, I'm a huge collector in statues, toys, and anything else that I fancy. But what is this? The PCS collectibles, I mean. It's popcultureshockttoys.com. And some of the statues they had displayed there were magnificent. I mean, they had things from RoboCop, American Werewolf in London, some Street Fighter characters, Mortal Kombat characters, and just these things were huge, first off. I think they were larger than the 12-inch. But
yeah, they were large.
Yeah. But the one that I didn't see, and I saw it online, was He-Man with what the hell's the tiger's name? Do you remember the name of the tiger?
Oh, Cringer.
Cringer, yeah.
He became Battle Cat, right?
Right, Battle Cat. That's what it was. Yeah, it's He-Man and Battle Cat. Cringer was the beforehand.
Was when he was in his wimpy
Yeah.
non-He-Man form.
How come he? Wait, a quick question. Why was he wimpy? Change into Battle Cat. Yet if you look, Adam is like jacked. Adam is like straight up Diesel, and then he changes into He-Man. But if you ever look, Adam of Eternia, Eternia walks around. He's still like built.
Yeah.
Like nobody's business. So it's like I love how people couldn't figure out
that he was He-Man.
Yeah,
Well, that's just like
you mean
Superman.
He just strips down. He strips down to shorts and a cross belt, and he doesn't look anything like the Prince.
Nope.
I mean,
the
Superman
same hair.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's for real. I mean, Superman had more of a right for like anonymity in the sense with Clark Kent. I mean, even that, it's like at least he put glasses on. Adam literally, all he did was change. He took off his clothes.
He got naked.
He got naked.
Half naked. That's appropriate for kids.
It's like Adam doesn't have a six-pack like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
There you go.
But yeah, some of the other ones out there, there was so many.
The Kotiaba. They had a good presentation, but they always do.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't have more stuff. They had a lot of stuff they had last year.
Yeah, there was a lot of repeats I did see from last year.
Well, I think the big thing this year were the exclusives, especially the Funkos. And I'd like to just personally just denounce the way they did it. It was ridiculous. To get any of the exclusives, you had to be online at 7 o'clock in the morning, first in the door, go to one room for tickets, and then go stand online for another God knows how many hours.
But that's how they do everything there. Like, if you want to be a part of something at Comic-Con, that's the way they do it. All right, so first off,
I don't remember it being that hard. I remember getting exclusives last year and not, I mean, it seemed to run out in less than an hour and everything. It's like, you knew how many people were going to be at this thing. Even if you just kept it to, I think they said they expected 125, but 150,000 showed up.
Right.
Over the 4 days, and it's like, well, if you know you're going to have that, maybe you belt out X amount that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because clearly they didn't have enough for all of them.
No. And, that's the way they do everything, though. Like, if you want to get into a panel, you're going to be there early and put your name on the list. Like, we were trying to take the kids on Sunday to go to the Padawan training or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, you're not on the list." I'm like, "How do I get on the list? You have to be here at 7 in the morning." I'm like, "Whoa," So I mean, the same thing with any of the people that won signings. One of our buddies, Mike Borgnine, he won both days, the signing for Daredevil and then the signing for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he left his house at 4:30 in the morning out here in Jersey and drove out there. You know what I mean? Like, he was there. And he won 2 nights in a row. And I was like, you are the luckiest son of a bitch I've ever known. Because he also was the guy that's having Kevin Smith officiate his wedding from the last con, from last year's New York Comic-Con. So
there's a fix there.
There's got to be something. I know he's doing something.
Somebody.
He's connected in some way.
He's blowing someone.
But one of the absolute coolest things, and I am a huge Star Wars fan, was the Star Wars pod series. They have that video game there. I don't know if you guys played it or not. I'm sure you've probably seen it. But it's just a shooter game, a starfighter type of game. And it was actually really cool because they added like an extra feature in there, at the end of Episode 4 when they blow up the Death Star and Vader goes shooting off into space. They added where Vader comes back and tries to go and destroy the Millennium Falcon. Cool little thing. It was the hardest level. I tried it once, failed miserably. Everybody laughed at me. Came back, tried it again, focused my force powers a little bit more and did better. But really cool game. The console itself was $11,000.
Holy Jesus.
A mere pittance.
Yeah. So check out Star Wars, the pod series.
It was Battle Pods, right?
Battle Pods. I'm sorry. Yes, Battle Pods. But really cool game. And it reminded me a lot like that old Star Wars arcade game where, you were starting off with the battle scene. They kind of went through the movie, you know what I mean? But the only difference was
Star Wars Trilogy game.
Right, that's what it was, a Star Wars Trilogy game. But the only difference was you were able to fight Boba Fett and you were able to fight Vader.
You do that in the trilogy game too.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't do this in the other one. In this one.
Oh yeah, this is strictly
This
from
is strictly
being
flight.
in a pod, in whether it's a snow speeder, X-wing, a TIE fighter, whatever it is. You're inside a vehicle.
Yeah, and a speeder bike. So that was cool. Then what else did we have in Comic-Con New York 2015? Shit, there was so much. Such little time to go over it all. Oh, that's right. Some of the premieres, right? Some of the the show premieres that were coming out. We had a chance to sit through
Yeah, that's
Supergirl.
right. Sit through.
We had a chance to sit through. Well, you suffered. I kind of enjoyed it because I'm a geek. You were like, ugh.
Dude, come on.
But-
that Supergirl is
She was
horrible.
hot, though. She was hot.
She's all right at best. She's adequate. She's doable. She's got like a cuteness to her, but you kind of want to smack her at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Then there's we saw Supergirl. We saw
Lucifer.
Did you see Legion?
No, we just watched Lucifer, and then we watched Containment.
Yeah, 4 to 6 feet.
Right. They couldn't just
That's
say
all
more
I
than
kept
4.
saying the whole time through the whole show. 4 to 6 feet.
I
4
think
to
that
6
should be
feet.
the title of the show. 4 to 6 feet.
Containment,
I
4 to
still
6
love the
feet.
fact that they just don't say
In parentheses.
Yeah, more than 4. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, more than 4 feet.
More than
Like,
4
why
feet,
would they
please.
say 4 to 6? Like it's like after 7, 8, then like the rate, the possibility of infection rises again. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
but it was just none of them were really all that good or anything groundbreaking.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
Lucifer was cute in the
Lucifer
sense that
was-
he's got little quips, but it gets irritating. I mean, like this is it. So the Prince of Darkness actually is a pretty swell guy.
Yeah.
Who lives on Earth and likes to fight crime and solve mysteries for good.
And
Like,
bang women.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just another way to repackage that same kind of smart aleck, detective type stuff.
That was actually, I enjoyed
So
that.
he's Remington Steele of the New Millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. He's got all the quips, he's got all the kind of one-liners, and he's the devil.
Right.
But he's actually kind of cool. He's not like the devil, like, rah. He's like devil, like, hello, I'll have a martini,
Yeah,
please.
he's got the accent and everything
Yeah,
like that.
it's just really, I don't know. And then it's like he's actually trying to help people. And he's going to fall in love with the girl. It's just weird.
The cop,
It's just,
yeah.
I was not a fan of the shows, but we did get to see the premieres at least. But I mean, one of the questions I hear now, Dennis, you were actually at the San Diego one years ago. But from what I understand, all the big reveals happen over there, right? In terms of movies and shows.
Even nowadays, yes, they do.
Yeah.
Because
Like I know they released the Daredevil, the season 2 Daredevil, like 3-second teaser,
right.
but they really didn't have anything. I mean, they were showing, and I didn't see it. I didn't hear anybody that saw it, but the other DC superhero one, Legion of Superheroes, which is like the Justice League of the year 3000 something,
Right.
which they're going to feature a character called Rip Hunter, Time Traveler. So I saw that they were going to view that, but I didn't see that one or heard anybody that actually saw it. So I don't know if that actually went down.
I mean, I guess because the proximity to Hollywood makes it so that more big stars go to those kind of things too. I know that's not what Mike is looking for. You're looking for the cosplay stuff, but it is interesting because if you looked at this year's lineup, like Mike and I were talking, it was atrocious. Like there were just a bunch of nobodies. I mean, like
Yeah.
Last year there was a
Last year
lot
they had
more.
more. They had almost the entire cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
my wife and I got online. She wanted to meet Brent Spiner.
right.
They had the guy
Walking
from
Dead.
Warehouse 13. They had Walking Dead. Well, they did have Walking Dead this year, but they just had it on at Madison Square Garden for the premiere party.
Yeah,
and that was another thing they did too. They had a lot of off-site stuff at the
Yeah.
Hammerstein Ballroom, and I
Right.
thought that's a little bit inconvenient.
but seriously, like
And
they
you need to
actually
buy
had-
tickets for those type of things.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird because they had for the con they had like Breckin Meyer and DJ Qualls and like Seth Green, and I remember saying like, "Geez, if this was 1996, I'd be really excited."
Yeah.
And they also
I
had
mean,
the mini reunion of the cast of Firefly.
Oh,
With just like
Jesus.
four of the
Yes.
characters. And the only other ones they had two nobodies and Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones.
Right.
And trying to think that last year I remember they had what's her name Oh, the girl from X-Files. I can't think of her name.
Gillian Anderson.
Jillian. She was there, but she was there signing a
For
book she had just written.
Yeah, yeah. We tried to get an interview with her, but
It's sad when Danny Glover is sitting at a table and internet phenom Felicia Day has a longer line than he does.
or the fact that like I knew John Leguizamo and Danny Glover, but I was even telling this to Mike. Maybe it's just because I'm old, but like more than half of the people that were signing autographs, people that were charging like $20 to $40 for an autograph, I didn't even know who the hell they were.
Yeah.
It was.
That's what it was.
Really
Last year, I'm trying to remember how much different Next Generation characters charge different amount of money. I want to say Brent Spiner was $20 or $30. I don't remember.
What was Tasha Yar? Because I saw she was there, right?
You know what? She was. I don't remember. I remember she was expensive, and I was like
Denise
"Ugh."
Crosby.
Yes, because she was also in Walking Dead. So
Right, she was. You know, she's Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Are you lying? You're lying.
No, she really was.
She was?
I mean, yeah, she really is. I mean, her career is dead, not her.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
no, actually, she's doing better now. But she was the one who made that mistake of leaving the show and then had to do that sort of walk of shame where she tried to get back on the show.
Right.
There's been a couple times in shows that that's
and
happened.
then she posed in Playboy, and
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was it.
yeah. So but yeah, last year was a lot better. I mean, they had Tyson. This year, I mean, we got to meet some of the people from Border Town. So like, you know, voice actors, people famous from, let's say, like The Simpsons, like Hank Azaria, writers from The Family Guy, and Judah Friedlander, Alex Bornstein, things like that. I got to show Hank Azaria my tattoo of Homer, and the best part was. He reacted the way everyone should react, which was like disappointment. He just kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
And I was just, yep.
Well, the first thing he said to us, I don't even think he wanted to be there, to be honest with you.
Oh, he clearly was, he hated
And he was like, how about I interview you guys? And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. And then he just started asking, well, how long have you been doing this? And
and
he was
he
just going
starts
into
asking
it.
how
Never a
long
good
he's been doing
sign.
it. And I was like, about 5 minutes. And,
Yeah.
and he said, he's pretty much like, you guys just snuck in, didn't you? And he was right. I mean, we pretty much
We did.
So I was like, yeah, my father's in security. It's all good. And he just was like, okay. And then I just said, listen, this is kind of my passport. I show him this tattoo. And he goes, wow, yeah, how about that? And he kind of was like, does like a double take. And I said, yeah, I committed early and there's no going back. And he's like, yeah, I guess not. And he sat down and we got to ask
And
everyone.
all the while he's thinking security.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, he made sure to. And then Mike goes up and actually bothers him for a drop, which is great because it actually ended up working out. I mean, now you got like a bumper, right?
He does, and what he doesn't realize is that the guy is asking a legitimate question at the end of it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And that was the best part.
Yeah, it was totally. It was ad-libbed and just honest.
Yeah. Here, I'll play the clip for everybody here. Let's see.
Plus, I think it's also the timing of the New York Comic Con being out in October. There's not it's not like it's movie time. The San Diego Comic Con is usually at the July August timeframe where summer blockbusters are still being out there. You have movies that hit Labor Day and Memorial Day. All those movies are still out or about to come out. So you have big pushes from the studios to push those movies. Whereas, what do you have coming out in December? Mockingbird Part 2, Mockingjay Part 2, Okay,
Well,
we get
Stars has the Ash vs. Evil Dead. That was pretty cool. We got to walk through the set there.
That was good. That's one thing I was surprised that there was nothing of. It's like, hello, Force Awakens, December 18th.
Well, that's because Disney had their own thing, and
they have the D23 thing, but it's like, you know what? That's great if you're in the land of Disney. What about 99% of the rest of the country that's not?
Yeah, there wasn't anything on Star Wars other than the game. I didn't see, other than like statues, random statues, and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
collectibles, which was disappointing to me. I mean, I thought we were going to see a lot more of it, but yeah, what are you going to do? We're not in charge. But yeah, the Ash versus the Evil Dead, that was a pretty cool set. We got to walk through Ash's trailer and see,
Well, Stars does a good job with their series. So
have you seen that Patrick Stewart one?
I have not seen Blunt. Is that what you're talking about? That's
Yeah, I was
that was
curious
on
to see-
Showtime, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? No, I think it was Stars.
I could be wrong. I thought
I
it was
don't
on
know
Showtime.
actually.
Maybe
But
you're
is
right.
it him just smoking pot through the whole thing, or
No, he plays a news reporter that
Oh.
kind of goes off like what's his name? He's like an amalgamation of like all the news reporters that get caught with hookers, drugs, lying, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's Stars, and it's right Blunt Talk on Stars.
It is
and
on Stars. Okay.
yeah, and he's pretty much like who's the guy that took over for Larry King and got dismissed, right? Isn't he based kind of like on
Pierce
that?
Morgan?
Yeah, isn't he like kind of like there's some elements of that. I heard him in an interview with Stern, and I remember him talking about how like trying to sort of find different inspirations for certain portions of his character. But I haven't actually gotten to see the show yet.
Yeah, neither have I. There's
Yeah.
too much other stuff on the plate right now with the new seasons of everything starting.
Yeah.
Arrow, Flash, Heroes Reborn, Supergirl that's coming out.
Heroes Reborn is pretty good. Have you been watching it?
We've
I
been
have.
we've been catching up on. My wife never saw the original
Oh,
Heroes,
so you're still in
we've
the
been
past?
watching that. Yeah, so I think we're on season 3. So, but we're recording Heroes Reborn, and we'll probably binge watch it over the Christmas break.
Nice. Well, yeah, that was one of the cool shows that I loved when it was out. You know what I mean? And then
And that's another thing
the
that
writer
wasn't
strike
promoted
happened.
there either.
Yeah, that wasn't promoted either. There's a lot of things that weren't promoted that was kind of weird. It was like, why aren't they here? And
But the seasons dropped off. I mean, the first season of Heroes was way more engrossing and interesting than
yeah.
Well,
second.
don't forget, it also suffered from the writer strike.
writer
that
strike.
happened.
Yeah. I mean, Kring talked about that, and I think there's some truth to that. But I'm interested to see how this one plays out because you could tell they're trying to capture it was such a huge ratings blockbuster when it first came out, and then it
Right.
just tanked. I mean,
Yeah.
it became like a
Well,
joke.
the storylines got ridiculous. Just
Right.
That's what happened. It suffered from the writing. Now they're trying to ride on the coattails of every superhero movie, which they may or may not be able to do just because of the saturation of superhero stuff that's on TV right now.
Right.
I don't know that it'll last very long.
But I get the
Nostalgia
feeling that,
only carries you so far.
yeah, I get the feeling people are going to try and create their own superheroes very often so that they don't have to keep relying on Marvel or DC for rights or for ideas. I mean, you get the feeling like there's going to be more and more of these kind of, extrasensory powers where it becomes more like, as, if it were to actually happen, how would it go down? That kind of situation, as opposed to just like, needing another Avengers or, a Shield or things like that, where it's, the content comes from something that's already established via like a book form.
Well, the nice thing about Heroes was that heroes existed in comic books in that universe, whereas
Right.
nobody's ever heard of zombies in The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Oh God. Don't I know
So
it?
it's
What happened to the Cranberry song "Zombie"? I guess it just didn't chart over there, huh?
No, definitely not. Zombie. That was a good song. I liked it.
Yeah, I know. And in that world, it didn't occur.
No, not at all. That's disappointing.
not as disappointing as where The Walking Dead has been going.
Oh,
Holy crap! What a shit show! that-
Baby loves milk.
I haven't liked that show in many years.
Wait,
I just
wait.
never. I can't wrap my head around the
Did
fact
you-
that things will work and then people don't utilize them. I remember talking to people on Geek Blast before about that. Like when the fact that like for the second episode, what's the Korean fellow's name? Whatever the frick his name is.
Glenn. Yeah.
Yeah. He puts blood on himself and it works perfectly, and then it rains and the blood
Yeah,
washes
it
off.
Washes off.
But why not just keep doing that? Like if you and I
They've
did
done-
like
actually, they have done that before. They have covered themselves.
no, they only
in
did it one at
zombie
a time
stuff.
with the older woman, right? They did it another.
No. Well, yeah, Carol did it once, but they did it again. And I'm
I
trying to
stopped
remember
watching
the
it. I
episode.
saw people do it twice. I would live in zombie blood, dude.
Well, Michonne would
I just-
carry
You know what the
around
thing is?
zombies.
Is that it's like they don't say that they work off smell. They say they work off sound. You have to cover themselves in blood. Why? Because their vision is so great?
Yeah,
That's what
I
doesn't make
can't.
sense.
Yeah,
It's-
internally it's not consistent, and beyond that, it's just a problem because you end up in situations. Same thing with Michonne and the zombies. I would always do the zombies on the leash,
Yeah.
where she's got her own little pets.
Yeah.
Anything
Right.
that
Cuts off
worked.
the jaws.
Anything that worked, I would do again and again. And for some reason, it's almost like a
don't.
movie where it's like they sit, they'll only
Like,
do.
why are you
things-
so stupid?
Yeah,
There's a lot of stupid. Like, ready? He takes, of all the cars that he has access to, he takes a car that gets 9 miles to the gallon.
Or
Like,
Daryl
really?
takes a fucking motorcycle.
Actually, motorcycles are actually, if you know what, if you're a
Why would you want
loner,
to no, that's a terrible idea. Why would you could get pulled off a motorcycle? I would
yes
much
and
rather.
no.
I would want an encased vehicle so that people can't get to me at all.
The Fiat is yours.
Yeah.
But what they did this year, they started off with, they found a quarry filled with zombies, like thousands of zombies.
Right.
And they're afraid that if there are at each end of the quarry, there's an entrance, an entrance or an exit, right? And they are blocked in by 2 tractor trailers backed in, forming a V at the bottom and the top of the quarry. So their fear is that if these walkers get out, they're going to walk right to their town in a one big herd. So I looked down thinking, oh, okay, what are they going to do? They're going to firebomb it, roll boulders down to crush them, use a flamethrower or something, or back the semis out. No, they have Rick come up with a bright idea to let the zombies loose and herd them away from the town.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how stupid that idea was. I'm
It
thinking,
was a dumb idea, I agree. But, I mean, why couldn't they just, maybe just pick them all off? You know what I mean? Or just,
or
Did they
just roll boulders on them and stuff.
Yeah.
Just do something.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so. Did they even?
it's
ever,
a quarry.
Did they ever explain why? In the season with what was his name, the governor or whatever the hell his name was, why when he's headed back to what's it called, Woodbury?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, what they actually
you do know the series.
Yeah, no, I watched it up until just like a season ago, and then I just finally got fed up where I just couldn't take it anymore. But it's like they all went back to this thing, and instead of just kind of clearing out whatever zombies were in and then reestablishing the town, they decided to load everyone up and move to a prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they beat the governor back, and they could have just taken the town. All the governor's guys are dead because he even pulls off on the side of the road to kill them. So
Right.
it's like they go back, and then instead of just living there in an already pre-established community that's all
Right.
set and just needs a little cleaning, they decide to just herd everyone back to a jail that they haven't even finished looking through.
Yeah.
It was just I don't know. It's just when you see things like that happen again and again, it just kind of wears on you, and then eventually, even people like me, I'm always thinking, well, I've invested. I'm irrational and I'm an idiot because I always think, well, I invested this much time in it. Now I just got to stick it through to the end.
Yeah.
And when my co-host told me, he's like, well, they haven't even finished, I guess, writing the graphic novels or something. Like, there's no end in sight. I was like, oh, shit, I'm jumping ship, bro. I'm getting the hell out of here. If they don't have an end planned, I'm done.
Well, you know what the books are a lot different. The books actually make a lot more sense than the TV show did.
Well, you got to make the book make sense, and then just totally dog the TV show, because that's just how things go. Everybody always says the books are much better.
The good material from the book. So far, the prison, the town, the governor, they took all those from the book, and even the town that they're in called Alexandria, there's a herd that overruns the town at one point just because, which makes a lot more sense than Rick setting the town up for failure that way. Right. And I guess they're going to try and say, well, that's the whole dichotomy of the character. And it's like, you know what? I would have put a bullet in Rick so long ago because he's too soft and he's too stupid. The only smart people were the people in Alexandria that made the town work.
Say it right. It's Rick. Every time I hear that name, I just imagine Herschel saying it.
Yeah.
Rick.
It's so irritating.
Carl.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us this evening, fellas.
But wait. There's one thing we didn't discuss.
What's that?
The fantastic find I had at the con.
Oh, yes. I didn't want to talk about it.
Why? Because I want to gush about it like a kid on Christmas morning.
I don't like you either.
Go ahead. Tell everybody what you got.
Well, if you don't know, I collect the Bowen Bust series.
Yeah.
And I am down to now 8 as I found the Chrome Silver Surfer bust at the con.
I do love Silver Surfer.
Yes, for substantially less than what it was going for online. So
what was substantially less
about that? $200 less.
Whoa. That's
With
awesome.
$200 less.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means did it start at 201?
No, it's actually like 500, and I got it for $3.
Nice, I guess. And I love the Surfer, but geez, wow. So this is just like a bust of what?
Yes.
Really?
It's
Okay.
a chrome mini bust.
It's a mini bust.
And
Mini bust.
it's actually really nice looking. You could probably see yourself in it, that kind of chrome.
Yes.
And
I can
he
see
sent me a
myself,
picture of it.
Surfer.
He sent me a picture of it, and I'm like, I can see you in it. But you got to dust your shelf, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of work, bro.
I know it is. I have, two of my own standing shelves. But yeah, I don't like you for that. I'm
It's
jealous. I'm jealous. But all right,
Don't
so that's
hate the
gonna
player,
do it.
hate the game.
I do. I hate the players. I don't hate the game. The game is what it is. So that's going to do it for this edition of Geek Blast. Just a couple of other cons that are going to be on the horizon. The New Jersey Expo Comic Con. The New Jersey Comic Expo, I'm sorry. That's November 21st and 22nd. So you might be able to catch us there if you are there.
We'll be there. I just found out today.
From this or something else?
No. The wife said, "Oh, there's another con we can wear
Yeah.
the costumes to."
Yeah.
Great.
Aren't you looking forward to it? Then there was a couple other New York cons. The Winter Con, December 5th and 6th. And I don't know where this one is, actually.
The Rubicon.
It's a New York Comic and Sci-Fi Expo. Yeah, I don't know. Check it out, nywintercon.com. And
The
then
Farrakhan.
The Farrakhan. That's a good one, bro. Then there's the Mike Carbo's Big Apple Con. You can check that one out. NYCBM.com. So those are just a couple extra
He was the
cons.
New York Comic Con before New York Comic Con.
Right.
It was the Big Apple Con.
Yeah. So check out those. You could also check us out on Twitch every Saturday night, on Corrosive Radio, where me and Brendan go through. It's horror month, so we play some video games for you guys. I continually tell Brendan how bad he is, and he tells me that I am a jerk. And also, you can check out Corrosive Radio anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with their exquisite music, 24 hours a day. So check that out. And you can check us out anytime on YouTube, where we have all of our previous episodes. And that'll be it for this evening. I'm sorry. Do you have something?
Burnt Film.
Oh, well, go ahead. Plug it.
Burnt Film, where Brendan and I, the same Brendan that calls Mike a jerk and that can't play video games, we get on and discuss movies from a different sort of perspective.
Yep.
So if you guys are interested in movies, listen in and step up your movie game.
Step it up. Bring it out.
I got one thing. Just I'd like to say that if you're
ahead.
interested in cosplay, 3 ladies to check out. Check them out on Facebook. A girl named Monica Lee, another girl named Yaya Han, and another girl named Riddle Messy Wardrobe, or Ricky Lakoti. Check them
sounds
out.
funny.
They have some great cosplays and links to other great cosplayers if you're interested.
So there you go, fellas and ladies, nerds, geeks, dweebs. Until next episode, this is Mike from Geek Blast, and we are out.
Welcome to Geek Blast.
Geek Blast, you better make way. Open up your ears and let the word spray. Hey, did you hear the noise? Something just exploded as a mushroom, have you noticed? Geek Blast, clear out the pad. Gizmo's throwing caca and Chewbacca is a rat. Hey, what? Better call your dad. Something has been growing underneath the doormat. Geek Blast.
Hello, I am Hank Azaria, and you are listening to Geek Blast, whatever the hell that is.
Just everything.
So, Mike, have you ever been to the one in San Diego or no?
I have not, and
I have. Long time ago, though, before it became the media press that it is now.
oh, that was only when it was like 4 fat guys and like comic books.
No, that was the New York one when you used to hold it at the Hotel Pennsylvania. I went back in '92. Yeah, when a guy named, I think his name was Fred Greenberg, used to do the cons in the city.
Wow,
around the area.
92. I was still in high school.
Barely.
I'm sorry, I was in grammar school.
Yeah.
I told you, Dennis, you could be my father.
Dennis is old.
Yeah. Mike doesn't know it, but I am his father.
Well, we can rule the galaxy together. Well, just to get started on a couple of things that I thought were really cool and didn't get a chance to get to were some of the after parties that happened after Comic-Con.
That's usually when after parties are.
Yeah. Thanks for the...
That's Mike, always leaving the party early.
Yep. One of the things was a Blade rave. Now, have you guys heard of this? The Blade rave?
I think I saw a bumper for it. Like, I think I saw a handout.
Yeah.
Like Blade, the movie Blade, where they're all partying under like sprinkler system and then they all get eaten by vampires?
You
Precisely.
got it. There was this girl handing out little cards that said Blade Rave on them. The admission was $56, but with this card you get him for $28, which I'm sure everybody got him for $28. But basically, you know, it's just like the scene in Blade. And I said to her, is this just like in Blade? Like when they're all in the club and they're all in the rave and then they all... She's like, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. She's like, we're reenacting that scene in the movie. And I'm like, so everybody's going to die. And she's like, well, if you're lucky. And I'm like, okay, wonderful. She's like, hope to see you there.
Art was bought. What, you know, how did you make certain things? Depending on the level of cosplay. If you ever watched that TV show Here's a Cosplay, they did some of those contests where they did pre-interviews and they said, you know, based on the particular judge, they may score you higher for, you know, there's original idea, original costume, originality, how much of it was created by you, how much was store-bought. So it really varies on the type of contest that it is.
And is there also some sort of benefit to choosing a character that's like got a cult following, but one that specifically is lesser known? Like this year, one of the fan favorites was Barf from Spaceballs. Now, I mean, plenty of people know who that is, but he was pretty much like the only Barf throughout the entire Comic-Con.
There was a Barf last year as well.
Right, but I mean, like, you look at, like,
the Barf
Batman.
this year looked a lot better than the guy that did it last year. I'm serious.
Yeah.
The guy this year looked like dead on.
He looked like John Candy. Because he had the look, he had the size, he had
the walk.
You know,
the walk down, and those dog bones, man. He was.
But
eating
so
them like
I guess what I'm saying is that, like, you could do that before. I think you'd have more success with someone like that than you would yet another Batman, or you know what I mean, yet another Captain America.
I'm tired of Deadpool.
Yeah, right.
You know, and every incarnation of Deadpool. And it's only going to get worse when the movie comes out. But what it comes down to is a little bit of originality. You know, sometimes you'll see something like that's a cool mixture of something, and then sometimes you'll just see stuff that's just old hat. You know, for example, the Batman. We saw a ton of Batmans, but the one cool Batman was the guy who had the Dark Knight with the kryptonite gloves, toting around a dead body of Superman, but he looked like he had gotten through a fight because half the costume was destroyed. So that was probably the best looking Batman because it was Batman.
Did you get a picture of this guy? Because I didn't even see this one.
Oh my God, how'd you not see him? He was dragging his body all around there.
And like she's all dressed up, you know, and I'm like, you're a freak.
Was she hot?
She was hot, you know. They're all hot. Most of them.
She was like a goth vampire type chick.
She did, and she had those like weird like contacts in that changed her eyes, but they were like white.
No, that was her vagina you were looking at.
Ooh, I don't know.
Sounds like a girl you bring home to your mother.
What'd you say about my mama?
Nothing that's already been said about her.
Yeah. So one of the other things that I didn't get to make it on, which one of the main focuses for us this year was cosplay, and you know we made a lot of cool cosplay contacts, and we talked to a lot of different cosplayers and some seasoned vets, We saw the cosplay championship that happened, the Eastern Championship, which I was, it was my first cosplay championship to watch, and I was pleasantly surprised. As were you, Dan, right? I mean, you had a pretty good time, right?
And then when I got home, my girlfriend had gone to the 2011 BlizzCon out in California.
Okay.
I already like your girlfriend.
What's that?
I already like your girlfriend.
Well, that makes one of us. Yeah, so basically, she proceeded to show me, because I showed her some of the pictures from this year's, Eastern, the Eastern Conference Championships here at New York Comic Con. Well, she proceeded to show me some pictures. I don't know, obviously you're in front of your computer. You might want to just Google 2011 Comic Con. I mean 2011 BlizzCon.
Right.
And I got to say, she's right. Like, the costumes and the cosplay were of a much higher pedigree. It was pretty, I have to say, it was even more impressive. Now, it doesn't diminish what was done at New York Comic Con, but if you look at some of the champions from the BlizzCon one, it was like ridiculous. I don't know if they were actually just people that swiped things from a Hollywood set, but it was like, some of it was fantastic.
Actually, you're right. They do swipe it from Hollywood sets. There's a lot more prop companies and costume companies just being in LA because it's Hollywood than there is out here. People out here, they make their own stuff without a lot of tutelage. There's not save for going online, there's not places around here you can really walk into and say, yeah, I need to make the armor for the Marines out of StarCraft, and I want to be this character. And they're like, okay, well, we have Warbler, we have this kind of plastic, we have this, and we'll even show you how to do it. It's different out in LA.
That's one of the things that Mike and I were discussing because, I'm a neophyte when it comes to cosplay. I'm not familiar with it at all, but it seems to me that there's sort of like a point where one can't go past because if it gets too good, it stops being homemade. Like there's almost like they need to have like a retro category or some sort of like amateur category, because I've noticed even with all around the con, Mike and I were going around. I mean, half of the fucking vendors, right, were all were cosplay distributors of various, materials or costumes or people advising you on costumes and things like that. So,
you mean the sponsors? You mean the sponsors that were?
Yeah, the sponsors for sure. But also, I mean, like we networked with quite a few cosplay companies, people that provide hair accessories, people that provide raw materials, people that provide certain ready-to-go costumes. So is there going to be a point where people are just going to say, hey, wait, that's not homemade enough?
I would hope so.
It's funny. Well, yes and no. I mean, depending on what kind of cosplay contest you enter, they'll have what they call like a pre-interview, and they'll ask you what part of your costume did you make? What part?
Welcome to Geek Blast.
Geek Blast, you better make way. Open up your ears and let the word spray. Hey, did you hear the noise? Something just exploded as a mushroom, have you noticed? Geek Blast, clear out the pad. Gizmo's throwing caca and Chewbacca is a rat. Hey, what? Better call your dad. Something has been growing underneath the doormat. Geek Blast.
Welcome back, geeks, nerds, and dweebs alike. I'm Mike, and this is Geek Blast. Tonight I have Dan from Corrosive Radio joining us. And present and accounted for. And then also we have Dennis joining us. Dennis, how you doing this evening?
All right, boys.
All right. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about the New York City Comic Con, people. If you were there, we probably saw you, but didn't notice. If you weren't there, well, you got to get there next year. So you guys had a great time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, at least Dennis did.
Oh, yeah. 2 days.
It wasn't bad for me either.
No, you're not like Brendan. Brendan's like, I really hate that stuff. That's not my thing.
I mean, you know what it is? I'm not hugely into comics, but I can still enjoy the festivities.
Yeah.
People walking around in costumes, the cosplay. I mean, it's an event. It's a spectacle.
It is. I don't think the one person that said it the best was the real life Peter Griffin in his video. The New York City Comic Con is like what did he say? The geek festival of Disneyland or whatever for him at least. But it's kind of the same thing for all people that do cosplay, people that just want to go there to see the new upcoming things that are coming out, like television, movies, comics, toys, collectibles.